moment in history here in Riyadh. We aren't just renovating stadiums, we are building entire new ecosystems from scratch for Vision 2030 and 2034 World Cup. Today, we want to discuss how technology acts as the bridge connecting the fan buying a ticket on their phone to the facility manager monitoring energy usage, and finally to the sporting director needing a perfect environment for their players. With Saudi Arabia set to host the Asian Cup in 2027 and the World Cup in 2034, the kingdom is essentially a greenfield for innovation. If you could implement one technology standard in every new Saudi venue being built today, what would it be and why?
I think from our perspective, from a facilities management perspective, I think whatever system you look to deploy, you need to have that central tech backbone. So we would look to deploy a centralized, common computer-aided facilities management system across all of the venues, and therefore all of the data talks to one another. So I think having an individual asset that has a homogeneous CAFM system is great, but having a multiple asset system that all of the assets have the same commonality system, that each of those assets can in turn talk to one another, I think that's very powerful. And I think that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has a golden opportunity now to implement that, so that can benefit them in the short term. It can benefit them in the medium term for the delivery of the 34 FIFA World Cup. But more importantly, from a legacy perspective as well, you've then got one system across multiple assets, across multiple regions that talks to one another. So from a legacy perspective, that will be really, really unique. And they have an opportunity now to do that here.
Yeah, I think in our opinion, what we are noticing more and more is that we need to provide the fans like with a unique ecosystem. So what we are like experiencing right now is we offer something that is going from the discovery of an event to the ticketing, the access, the cashless, and the hospitality. So what we aim is to build a unique ecosystem that is like frictionless for people, where, let's say, stadiums are shaped based on what fans they want to experience or live during the events, and offering them this, let's say, unique ecosystem like we are doing, for example, right now in Fever. It allows them like to have this seamless experience and really enjoy the event across all the days that the tournament is lasting, without having to like change different platforms or like let's say, going from like an experience that is difficult for them, right? So I think Saudi right now has a unique opportunity to really build and shape the stadium based on what fans they expect, and not maybe like was for other countries where like the experience needed to be like adapted to what was already there, right? So I think that this is a unique opportunity that is right now for the country, and we'll be happy to participate on it in order to like provide this unique ecosystem, as I mentioned.
And Lorenzo, Fever is revolutionized how people discover entertainment, not just how they buy tickets. In a market like Riyadh, where a new fan culture is blossoming, how do we use data to turn a casual ticket buyer into a loyal fan? And is the technology in the discovery phase more important than the match day app itself?
Yeah, look, I think at Fever, the journey with the fan, it starts with the discovery, and not only like on the day of the event. So our app that is present in more than 400 cities around the world collects like millions of data every month, and we use this data to shape like experiences tailored to what our fans and our customers they expect, right? So it's Fever app, like let's say it's a mix of like new customers and very loyal customers, and the experience itself in the app, it's something that allows you to see or participate to whatever you want based on what you have done, like, or what you expect to do, like in the last weeks or months, right? So we try to like collect all this data, put together all this data in order to organize or be part of the experience that our fans they expect to live in every city where we are. So we have several experiences already, like very successful based on this. And with football clubs around the world, with like museum, with immersive art experiences. And what we always look for is for something new. A lot of time, like we are even surprised on what our customers like they are looking for, because maybe it's not what in that moment is the most popular in that city or in that country, but it's simply like a new trend that we need to anticipate, like predicting the demand, and then shaping the experience based on that. So I think like we really like build the app in that way. We like develop and expand like our business in this way around the world. As I said, as in today, like we are in more than 400 cities. We keep growing. We are like very ambitious also in this region, and I think is what we are looking for the next years.
Great, great, interesting. And we often talk about experience economy. How can football clubs use Fever's technology to monetize their venues on no-match days? And how do we turn a stadium into a 365-day destination for Gen Z?
Yeah, so what we are noticing more and more is that, for example, in the football business or just in general in the sport business, like clubs or institutions, they are not looking to only monetize like with the match day, because that is happening like once a week or once every 2 weeks, but they are looking to have like the stadium alive like 365 days a year. So based, as I mentioned before, on all the data that we collect and collaborating with the institution like we work for, we are bringing in a lot of like cities more and more experiences that are happening in the stadium, like in the days where there is no the match, right? So for example, like in plenty of city, we organize like our most iconic event that is Candlelight in the stadium, or another great experience was like the Rockin' 1000 in the Atletico Madrid Stadium in Spain, where we brought like more than 1,000 artists in a stage, like in the middle of the stadium. Another like great partnership we signed a few months ago is with Ceretto Football Club in Mexico, where basically they were looking to like have a lot of alive around the stadium and monetize better. So what we do is that we predict the demand, we anticipate like what the people they are looking for, and then collaborating with other institutions within that city or country, like we bring very valuable experiences in order for us to, of course, monetize better and for the club to have like extra revenue that they would not do if they were only based on selling the tickets for the games of the season, right?
Great, great. Michael, fan engagement gets the headlines, but operational efficiency protects the margins. How is NexVenue using technology to reduce the friction of running a stadium? And are we talking about energy management, crowd flow, or automated maintenance?
I think fan engagement rightly gets the plaudits and gets the limelight. That's why these stadiums are here, to facilitate these huge events, whether that be sporting, cultural, etc. And our job as facilities management is to enable those events to take place. And a lot of the technology that these stadiums have that we manage are actually unseen. You can't actually see them. They're behind a ceiling or behind a wall or in a tank room. But ultimately, you will notice the effect of them, whether they work or whether they don't work. And so, you know, our job is to make sure that the stadiums perform as they're designed. And the way that we impact that is to be involved right from the word go. I think the common misconception in the sector is that facilities management starts at the point of which the building has been built, whereas actually that's too late. And the earlier we can get involved, the more impact we can have downstream. And so if we take our experience from the Qatar 2022 World Cup, where we have managed those stadiums right from inception through to the FIFA World Cup, and we still manage them now from a legacy perspective, we're looking to replicate that here. And to take the point I made earlier with regards to a golden opportunity to do something truly unprecedented, the Kingdom has that because they have scale, they have ambition in terms of what they're looking to build. And so the technology involved in these stadiums will be the next generation of technology compared to what was built for the Qatar stadiums for 2022. And so really technology, it should make things simpler. It should make the enjoyment better. It shouldn't restrict that. And so really by being involved in the front end, involved in the testing and commissioning, involved in the test events, through to the spike of the FIFA World Cup, and then really from a legacy perspective, that continuation is where we add value. And I think, the ability to, a lot of clubs now in terms of commercialization are always looking at the top line. But really, when it comes to facilities management, that's a big line of your OPEX budget. And so by being involved at the front end, you can actually really have a positive impact, both from an effectiveness perspective, so the stadium can run efficiently, energy uses, et cetera, but also from a commercial efficiency perspective as well. These venues cost less to run on a daily basis if we are involved at the front end.
Great. As venues become smarter, they also become more complex to manage. How do you ensure that the technology simplifies the facility manager's job rather than overwhelming them with data that they can't use?
Yeah, I think one of the things I mentioned before about having that central tech backbone, so having one system that talks to all of the assets, both on a localized level and on an asset-wide level, so a central command, central control, I think is very important, particularly when you come to a tier one asset like that are being built within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And I think, if we look at, there's two elements to it really when it comes to the smart venues. It's not about quantity really, it's about the quality. So, 10,000 data points, yeah, but what does that actually mean? A facilities manager needs to probably know 3 or 4 key pieces of information, and then ultimately that will then affect them to go and be able to sort the issue out. So it's quality, not quantity. And really the big phrase that we use, it's insight, not information. So it's all well and good having all of this information, but how do we use that to make the venue more effective, more efficient? How can we use that data to learn lessons? And more importantly, can we use the lessons in venue 1 to make things better downstream in venue 2, venue 3, venue 4? And the only way you can really do that is to have that central tech backbone I've mentioned a couple of times. And so, yeah, that's how technology really should be a facilitator, not a prohibitor.
Right, exactly, well said. Lorenzo and Michael, there is often a tug of war between marketing, who want flashy fintech, and operation, who want stability and efficiency. How do Fever and NexVenue ensure that the front-end fan experience speaks to the back-end operations? For example, does ticket data helps predict concession staffing?
I think, a big part of it is early communication. I think one of the frustrations with both sides really on game day is sometimes the lack of communication. And if you can communicate and plan early in the process, I think then that facilitates a smooth transition and a smooth event. So certainly from our perspective, the earlier we start working together, I think one of the key lessons really from the Qatar 2022 World Cup was sometimes it would be the different functional areas would work in silos. And really one of the key lessons is that the silos don't work. And so whilst it's important to be a subject matter expert, an SME in your particular area, and to work within your functional area, really the key is to create working groups, is to communicate early in the process, and to have that cross-functionality panel that actually makes that on game day, the event, actually goes smooth.
Yeah, absolutely. I think communication, as Michael is saying, is key. Prediction and anticipation too, right? So like I was saying before to Michael, we have been assigned last summer from like the Supreme Committee of Qatar to manage like the under-17 World Cup that happened like last month, and right now like we are managing the Arab Cup there in Qatar, managing like around 10 stadium. And the only way to make like the operational part successful was to just collect all the data, interpret the data, and make sure that like operational was like seamless due to the high volume of things we need to manage at the same time, right? So like honestly, if you are able to predict the demand, if you are able to know what fans they are looking for in the stadium, around the stadium, like what is the experience, like since like they buy a ticket, no, like everything starts there, and then with the access, and then like with any activity they can do there, is what you need to make sure that you have all the right data and you put together this data in order to create like a very good like operation on the ground. So for us would have been impossible like without city map data or like trends of our customers or these kind of things like to put in place an operation successful when we only had like 1 month to make sure that everything was fine. So you need to put together all the key stakeholders, you need to speak the same language, you need to build a team, right? When you're talking about this huge event, like there are so many people involved and everyone is always trying to look at their interests and also to, let's say, make sure that if there is an issue, it's not happening to that person. So I think like when you have expertise, like in our case, we are used to be like manage several big stadium around the world. Like we put all together this expertise, even like within the company, like we brought the best people there to Qatar, and you make sure that like you don't have like issues, right? So that's why I think, of course, like marketing and technology, as you said before several times, like they don't have or they don't share the same interests. But if you are able to talk together and like understand each other, I think that then something that could be like a problem, it become like a very strong power, no? Because at that point you are able to deliver in terms of operation, but you are also ensure like the best experience to the fans.
Great, great. And we are sitting here in 2025. Fast forward to 2034 World Cup in Saudi Arabia here. Paint me a picture. What does the fan journey look like 10 years from now? Will physical tickets exist? Will we even queue for food? Give me your boldest prediction.
Well, I think it's not easy to predict the future from now into 10 years. But I think there are trends that we are like noticing more and more, like, for example, on the ticketing part or like in the experience part, like we notice that customers, they want to have every day a faster and like seamless experience when they purchase. So actually today, I think if you compare like Fever App with other platform, we already have the fastest conversion funnel when it comes to purchase a ticket. Like in literally less than a minute, you are able to purchase and get a ticket in your app. And I think this is the trend of the world. Like right now with social medias and everything, like fans, they expect to have everything perfect and easy. They don't want to go through any like trouble when they buy a ticket or when they go to the stadium. They just want to enjoy. And this is what we need to do and what we need to think all together as an industry and in our case as a company, right? So I think like to maybe close with a quote, like an institution that succeeds is not the one that guess the future, but is the one that adapt to it in the fastest way, right? So that's why we are here. We need to make sure that like the experience that we provide is the best for our customer. And this, I think, is what the experiential world will be in 10 years, right? So as Michael was saying before, I think companies like ours that we went through all these changes in several countries, and right now this will be like new experiences almost built from scratch. There is really the opportunity to anticipate all this and see the best way to deliver in a way that like 2034 will be really a great success.
Great. Michael, your boldest prediction.
I think the FIFA World Cup in KSA 34 will be the best. I think the stadiums that will be built will be absolutely world class. They'll be the next generation of stadiums with integrated technology that makes the fan experience seamless. So that journey from getting to the stadium let's hope that the transport links are there. Getting to the stadium, to your seat, and back home again, I think will be world class. And ultimately, the stadiums will facilitate some memorable football. That's what the World Cup is about. So my prediction is that the stadiums will be genuinely world class. They will use the lessons that have been learned from Qatar 2022 next year in Mexico, America, and Canada, the one after, and then here. You know, so they've got 3 World Cups, including Qatar, to really learn some lessons. And so therefore the end product in 2034 is genuinely world class, and I genuinely believe that will happen.
Great, excellent. Thank you.